Trekkies and Trekkers. Welcome to this amazing Star Trek podcast on Trek Tuesday. I'm your host Dorinda, and together with my lovely co-host Amanda Hopper, we recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek TNG. All the episodes will be recapped and chronologically following. We will approach each episode with humor and a phenomenal luck. Today we recap the episode 1100-1001. So guys, let's call Amanda again for this recap. Hello girl, how are you?
Well, hello, what's up? It's a little chilly today. It was, I think this morning was negative 14, it felt like. But tomorrow, here's the kicker. It's going to go up to plus 14, they said, for tomorrow, but with rain.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you saw that picture I posted on Twitter about the Petty-Kodiak River, of how it flooded over the bank. Yeah. Every time we get rain or snow melt, that happens with a lot of rain or a lot of snow melt. Like, it gets crazy every year. Every year like that. And part of the road, I was at my sister's today. We went to get the mail and drop some stuff off. Part of the road had a bit of a washout heading towards Wheaton Settlement, like the edge of the sidewalk. Part of the road was messed up a little bit. What else is new?
Well, my news is that you guys were lucky because I just have been without electricity for almost 6 days. We only had a little bit of electricity that we could have on the fridge and the cooker and charge our phone, and that was it. So it was a little bit the thing if we could record tonight. For Amanda, it's of course afternoon. So I'm happy to hear again. I'm happy to up and running again. So
woohoo!
So the recap for today is of the episode 1100-1001, the binary episode.
Yeah, I think there was 2 sets of those characters. They're like basically 2 sets of twins almost that look the same. And they had to do like a maintenance thing on the ship.
Yeah, they went to Starbase 74 and Enterprise-D had a great maintenance. I think that's after when they just left Starbase, Space Dock, and it's been, I think, a few years maybe to come back and do the maintenance. But it was really weird in a way because the crew of the Enterprise would have short leave, and not only short leave, but there will be maintenance and engineering people from the Starbase on the Enterprise, and with of course the binary people.
I was about to say, like when they were talking to each other, they would be like clicking, like kind of like clicking to each other, and then when they talk to whoever was on their own language was like clicking and stuff in binary code, and then when they talk to Wesley or anyone else, they'd speak their language of whoever they were talking to. I thought it was pretty cool.
I think, but there was that language was also very fast.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if you noticed, but
it's like a motorboat.
Mhm.
Like it was super fast. Let's put it this way: it's like me when I'm on coffee. I tend to talk really fast. It's just it's just comparing me to them because they were talking really fast in their little clicks and talks to each other when they were talking to each other. And when they were talking to Wesley and stuff, they seemed to slow down. But one would say one thing, the other one would say something after the other one. They keep going back and forth.
Yeah, because they work and live in pairs.
Yeah.
You could also I don't want to say compare it, but there's some kind of a connection like twins have.
Yeah, twins sometimes do have a connection with each other sometimes. It's like a ESP type thing, I guess you could say.
It was real weird because we only see the crew in hot working, and so Picard and Riker were totally out of their comfort zone because they never take time to relax. And Picard was saying, okay, I'm going into my room with my own music and reading and relaxing. And Riker was saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. Always come something up to relax. And he met Tasha Yar and Worf in one of the corridors, and Tasha Yar invited him to some kind of a recreation spot on
Squares.
Starbase, and Riker said, well, you have already played enough, and Worf answered with a very phonetic, it was so for Worf, you know, and you could still see and manage, it's the tough Klingon talk.
Oh yeah. He's like, we will defeat these teams. He's acting like he's going into battle, but it's just a game.
Yeah, exactly. And, well, I must confess, Riker was also a little strange in the beginning because he was, in one way he was looking for company, and he was checking on everyone. First on Wesley, then on Dr. Crusher, and then she said, sorry, Will, I have a special appointment with that and that scientist with cybernetic features because she wanted to know more about data, etc., etc., etc. And you could see her excitement and... Well, Riker was looking for the recreation, and he couldn't find it until he found the Bynars at the holodeck. They said, well, we just make the holodeck better. And Riker, from the start, he didn't trust them. He was saying, okay, I'm gonna try the updates of the holodeck right now. And he stepped into the holodeck, and he painted a picture of, okay, I want jazz music, a cafe in New Orleans, and a beautiful woman, and I want a jazz trio that I can play with. And, and do you remember that damn one pickup one-liner of him? It was something like... Let me see in my notes. What does a knockout like you in this junkie cafe or something like that in that way? And I was thinking, Riker, can't you think of something better?
Yeah, and when the girl showed up, first it was one girl, and he's like, no, maybe something a little different. The second one pops up. He's like, oh, close. Next thing you know, the third one was kind of like a short curly hairdo showed up, and he's like, perfect. And her name was Minuet. I remember basically her name was Minuet, and she was wearing this really nice dress. And you can see Riker look there from the legs first, worked his way up.
Yeah, well, I think Riker was like, okay, I'm going to try it out. And you could also see during the whole episode that he was, especially with Captain Picard, is that he was noticing and explaining what it really was and what it was so real. And I remember because also Wesley was really intrigued by the Bynars, and he was talking with them, and I must say I didn't trust them as well. They had that air
of... they were a bit of a mystery.
Well, I don't think mystery, but it was like they had a second phase, like, okay, we are talking like that to you guys, but we have a second plan, which was stealing the Enterprise to go to their own planet.
Because a supernova apparently was happening, and they needed help, but they didn't want to ask, so they decided they're going to steal a ship.
Yeah, they were afraid that Picard or Riker would say no. So Riker was on that holoprogram, and the Bynars were thinking, okay, if he really likes that girl and we can let him stay here on the holodeck, we have still someone who can get the ship to our planet and get all the information we put into the computer to our home computer.
Yeah, like they put and Picard was with them too, so they used Picard too in the same way as for Riker, and because you notice at the end it took two people to do the work on the computer instead of just Riker. Picard had to help him out too.
Yeah, and it was in that way it was really weird that Picard was finding Riker on the holodeck, and both were very intrigued and impressed with the character of Minuet, because they never had... Minuet was really like a real person.
Yeah, she was like, well, I forget what she said to Riker, but she was talking to him and holding a pretty steady convo with him,
but also to Picard, because she talked French to Picard.
Oh, I missed that part. Yeah, she did.
And it looks like that Minuet was very evolved as a holodeck character. So once again, Wesley was the one who discovered that the Enterprise was in trouble, because he got some readings from the engineering, and that the antimatter will explode and blah 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 blah. So he told that to Data, and I think that was really weird, because Data exactly, I don't know, maybe the Bynars has messed up with his program to get this involved, and because Data put right away a message out to the whole ship of everyone has to leave the Enterprise.
Yeah, I didn't catch on that. Yeah, I'm sure what they were doing probably also did mess with Data. I wasn't thinking about that part. Huh.
And why does Data has that permission if he didn't consult Captain Picard or Riker?
Oh, that's true. He didn't say anything to Picard or Riker either. I'm surprised.
And that's the weird thing. And Geordi was saying to him, Data, is this the correct procedure? Because Captain Picard and Riker are still on the ship.
Oh, and that was after the ship left, wasn't it?
And they were the last ones that went off the ship, beamed down to Starbase 74, and Data was setting the Enterprise course as far as he could from Starbase 74, because the antimatter would explode the Enterprise.
Yeah, and if it exploded close to the other docking bay place, whatever you call it. Starbase? Starbase. Because if it exploded near a starbase, it would just wipe that ship right out. Because antimatter is no joke.
No, and later in the episode, there was that moment that he asked his friends was this a mistake of me? Did I needed to be on the bridge? And it was like, I can't remember that he already has his emotion chip.
Well, I forget, what did they say again to him? I forget what the answer was.
They say you can't be on the bridge all the time, and because he was painting, and it was really a good painting too. And I remember Riker was saying, well, keep on notes, perhaps it will be in a book about a blind man who teaches a android painting.
And I think Geordi and Data looked at each other too when he said that.
Yeah, but that was just, I don't know, why would it sounded like negative instead of positive at that time. And I think you could see Geordi looking at Data with the look of that he didn't like it.
Yeah, because it kind of looked like Geordi was frowning when Riker said that. Yeah, but I liked the painting. It was actually pretty cool.
That was a beautiful painting.
Yeah.
And that was also one of the scenes that it reminds me on the Star Trek Picard Season 1 when we first see Data baiting the daughter, and that he already knew it.
Yeah.
So he kept on painting.
Yeah, he kept on painting even after, because he didn't let it falter him. He's like, oh, I'm sure I can get better, he says in his mind. And he did. Especially when in the further seasons when you see him talking to his mother, you see the paintings in his room, and there's one of his daughter, Lal. And his paintings got really good.
Riker also told Picard that if those characters from the holodeck programs are that real, he could actually fall in love with them. And in one way, reminds me also in other episode later on that was that Geordi LaForge had a crush on Leah Brom.
Yeah, scientist. And he created a holodeck program of her.
Yeah.
And she was not too pleased with him about it.
No, she wasn't amused with him.
No. She definitely wasn't amused when she found out.
But I think that shows you how in a fantasy world you can live and really fall in love and have a crush on a holo program character. And that reminds me of, you remember that episode in Voyager that Tom Paris made a holo novel, Irish little place, and as always, Harry Kim has fallen in love with a woman, and
oh yeah, that one, the one with the cow.
Yeah, exactly that one. Paris was being funny, and instead of let Harry Kim kissing a girl, he changed that girl into a cow.
Yep, changed her into Holstein.
And
oh, jeez.
The hologram is totally in that way upgraded. And Picard and Riker can't believe how real they are. You know, those, I think, in later episodes and also in other series, at first, the holodeck was created to practice. For example, like the red shirts and the tactical teams to do their thing. And
practice their combat training.
Yeah, but I think it was very soon that they, and very fast, that they make it also like for creation.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Entertainment, hobbies, stuff like that.
Oh, you remember that whole program what Reginald Barkley had made?
Oh, God. Yes, Mr. Nervous. He had Deanna in there. He had Wesley in there. Data was in there. Forget who else, but most of them
Crusher,
were all in there. And some of them were,
Beverly.
Yeah, some of them were the Three Musketeers, and Beverly was like in a flowy dress saying sonnets, and Beverly told the hologram to shut up.
So, the holodeck is pretty a point in this episode, and more will come, like you already hear from us. There are more episodes with the holodeck, but also the holodeck programs that will be dysfunctional. And we saw that for the first time in the episode with Picard, was first using it as free time, and he was Dixon Hill.
Yes. Yeah, he used it for his free time. That one episode is Dixon Hill, and it malfunctioned on them, of course.
Yeah, and well, when we still talking about the holodeck, so Picard came visit, or just I don't know why he was on the holodeck. He met with Riker and Minuet, and you could see that Riker wanted to be alone with Minuet, and that was the point that also Minuet was talking French to Picard, and you saw Riker being freaking jealous on the captain. Yeah.
He's like, whoa. He's like, whoa, dude, what the heck? Encroaching onto my territory, he thinks? It's like, okay.
But the weird thing also is that Minuet and Picard noticed that I've been here long enough, I will leave you two alone. And Minuet was really try Picard to stay. And that was really weird. So Picard exit the holodeck, and then he saw Red Alert. And he was thinking, what the hell's going on here? Why is it Red Alert? Also Riker came out. That was the first start that they noticed, okay, something is terribly wrong.
Yeah. Something was definitely wrong there, and it was those guys there, they were messing with the ship, and they're the ones who made the ship go into red alert by fiddling with something and causing all these problems.
Riker wanted to go to the bridge at first, but Picard was saying, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea who has my ship in control. So we have to go to main engineering and let the ship self-destruct. And I think Riker was a little bit shocked that the captain would do that.
Do you think that the captain would try to figure out what the heck is going on with this ship and why is it doing its thing, instead of just willy-nilly going down to make the ship go boom?
So they were trying to beam themselves onto the bridge, and they saw the Bynars lying there almost dead, and so they could only make one more conversation with the Bynars with what the hell are you doing, and why are you stealing my ship?
And yeah, they just they went and told them right there. I think it's at the exact moment they told them what the heck was going on with their planet and how there was like a supernova getting ready to go off. Like, I think that's what it was, the supernova they told them.
Yeah, and I think that their planet of the Bynars was very affected with that because I thought that the supercomputer on that planet had to restore it, etc., etc., and that's why they have to go back. And so Picard figured out what he needed to do to help the Bynars and contacted Data on Starbase 74. And it looks like that Data was really disappointed with himself. And that's what I was saying. I didn't thought that Data already has his emotion chip because he was very sad and emotions were there that I was thinking, but he is an android. He can't do that already.
Yeah, maybe he's just like picking up on the cues of people, maybe.
Yeah, perhaps. Because that in that episode with Data Lore, he didn't get the emotion chip, right? That was in a later episode.
Yeah, it was when he meets his father on the planet. The episode called Brothers is when he gets the chip. Well, he's supposed to get the chip, but Lore takes it away.
So when that happens, before when that happens, they went back to the holodeck and question Minuet. And I must say, I was very intrigued by that because it was like real, you know? And she did as much as she could help. And at the end of the episode, Riker went back with the same attention that Minuet was still exist, but it wasn't. And he had the same pickup line what he did in the beginning. He was so disappointed when she wasn't the same anymore.
Yeah, because I think it was something to do with the Binaries. I think they kind of programmed her to, be the way she was towards Riker. I think is what happened. But then, when all this thing went down afterward, and they were gone, I guess what they did was gone and left her, so she was just practically like any normal holodeck person. I'm thinking.
Maybe the writers did that also because if they give them that advanced technology, then they have to put that also up in the whole ship. You know what I mean?
Kind of, because I remember they put some of their intelligence into that computer there, and then they had to and then Riker and Picard went and I forget what they did, but they put the stuff back towards the Binaries, I think, if that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. They found the binary code, and first it didn't work because only Riker did it, and then Picard used the console next to him and did the same, and then the whole data what they put in the computer, they downloaded it in the supercomputer on the binary planet.
Yeah, and it seemed to work because the binary started waking up.
Yeah. So I still don't know what I have to think about those Bynars. Do you have any thoughts about them?
I don't think they're intentionally trying to harm the Enterprise. They just want to help really bad, but they're too scared to ask for help. Basically, I think is what was going on.
Yeah. Eventually, yeah. So it ends all good, and so when that happened, and that was a little bit of surprising for me again. Picard takes the helm, and he told Riker, "Okay, Riker, you're in good hands. I will fly the Enterprise to Starbase 74." And I was thinking, wow, that was the first time you see Picard actually doing the flying, because I never understood what he really was before captain, what department he was in.
Yeah, that was interesting. He's the first time he's did that in the season. He's like, I'm gonna see if I'm sure I can remember how to do this.
That was also in the first season of Picard, Star Trek Picard, when he fly the La Serena Rio ship.
And okay.
I was also thinking that point when he did that. Again, maybe I can find out in what department he really was when he started on Starfleet, because you would see, of course, he would do the officer training, but in what department was he really assigned to before he being an officer in that way? First officer, second officer. So I'm really curious about that. I don't know. Do you know in what department he is? Or shall I take a look and try to find out what it is?
Yeah, maybe you should look it up, because I don't have a clue what department he was in. But he could have been like before he became captain. He could have been maybe like in Data and Geordi's department area, or it could be Riker's department. I don't know.
I don't know either. I think maybe it's because they are in higher rank officers, they have to be all-round officers. So they need to know what they're doing in every department. So they can understand what, if there's something wrong, they can understand where, for example, the chief engineer is talking about.
Maybe they're known as the multitasking officer. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean with the all-rounder. So, Enterprise is coming back to Starbase 74, and you really could see the members of the Enterprise, that they were so glad to see the Enterprise back again. And and it was also Data who was mentioned the Bynars, of asking everyone, okay, where are the Bynars? And that's why they understood what happened. Is there something you like to add at this episode?
There's nothing I can think of.
Well, there is one thing, guys, I can say. When this episode airs, later that day, we will have a live discussion about this episode. So go to the Facebook group, and there is an event message with that there will be a live video room session of and then you can discuss with us about this episode. And yeah, maybe, who knows, we can do this more often in the future.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's go. Of course, we have to rate this episode still. Amanda, what is your rating?
Oh, jeez. I'll let you go first this time.
Alright, I will give it a 7, because although I like the story, it could be more detailed and more feelings in it, and more in a broader prospect.
Yeah, I would say around the same for me, because the episode, I don't know if you noticed, it seemed kind of slow in some parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of slow for that episode. That's mostly what I found. It was slow, but it was an interesting storyline. But it was just slow.
But also, it was an interesting storyline. But
yeah,
I think it's how can I say this? It's like it wasn't as smooth, and it contradicted in a way of I don't know. It was not like if you would read it, it was not that you could. In one way, it was same. It was like a two-part story in the way of two different things were happening.
Yeah, it's like basically two different stories running into one.
And I think they could have done more with the Bynars, that they have more background in it. And of course, later in the episode, they explain why they stole the Enterprise, but they could do so much more with it.
And probably explain more about their planet too, maybe. They could have done more episodes with them.
Yeah, but also like they could show the binary planet, because now they just talk about it, but you don't know how it looks like. And maybe they could, when, for example, they restored the planet and the supercomputer, maybe they could have a scene in which that's a Binar was contacting them and thanking them, so you could have a little bit of an expression what the planet looks like.
Yeah, that's true. They could have showed the planet and maybe have somebody from below the planet thanking them for helping. But no. And all we got to see of the Bynars was the Binaries themselves.
Yeah, so in one way it was slow, and they could have done more in the way of the storyline, and I had the feeling that they cutting scenes just because they make that episode one part instead of two parts, for example.
Yeah, it easily could have been a two-parter, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I think because this is still the first season, what we are watching, maybe they didn't. They still are figuring out, okay, are we good enough to continue?
Like they're basically working out the bumps and the creaks in the first season.
So, in this episode, it was my turn to ask you guys a question.
Yep.
So, the question I have for you is, if you were in Captain Picard's shoe and you find out that no one is on your ship and it is red alert and you have no idea what's happening, you will go to the main engineering. Would you do like Picard, putting a self-destruct on? Any ideas about that, Amanda?
I thought it was a little hasty putting the self-destruct on right away. I think he could have gone to see where the Bynars are and asked him what the heck was going on before he went down there and tried to blow the ship up.
But in one way I can understand it, because it's one of the most advanced Starfleet ships there is. So you don't want, quote, the enemies, unquote, to have your ship.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want the enemies to have your ship. That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing too. In one way, it was hasty to take that conclusion, because in one way that isn't Starfleet. Starfleet always investigate, and the Enterprise was a science ship. We like to hear what you guys think. So we're coming on to an end of this episode. Amanda, thank you again. It was nice talking to you again.
Yeah, same here.
We will recap another episode in about 2 weeks. And live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, guys.
Dear listeners, thank you for listening and join us in 2 weeks for a new episode recap. In the next episode, we will recap the episode Too Short a Season. Don't forget, later today, there will be a live discussion about this episode on the Facebook group. We'd like you to join us in this discussion. Girls Talking Trek is also to listen, follow and subscribe on Anchor, Google Podcasts, Spotify, the Facebook group and the YouTube channel. If you'd like to comment on this episode or talk with us about the Star Trek episode we just recapped, you can reach out on the Facebook group and the YouTube channel of Girls Talking Trek. We will see you in 2 weeks. Live long and prosper.